What's up, YouTube, man? It's your boy Action Jackson, man. And in today's video, I'm going to explain why I feel like Dak Prescott is one of the most, why is Dak Prescott so hated on for him being 10 on this list. And I'm going to discuss on why I feel like this list needs to be fixed, in my opinion. But yeah, man, before we head into the video, I appreciate if you guys would like the video, subscribe if you're new, comment if you have an opinion or anything you have to say within the video, anything like that, man. And it should be left off the list. Why I feel like I have a case as to why Dak Prescott needs to be moved up higher on the list. And yeah, man. So first, let's look at the top 4 quarterbacks: Aaron Rodgers, Mahomes, Allen, Brady. I feel like this needs to be moved just a tad bit. I feel like Mahomes, to me, is the best quarterback in the league. He has arm talent. He has wins, done it in the playoffs, has a Super Bowl, has an MVP, has a Super Bowl MVP, all of recent. I feel like he should be number 1. I feel like Tom Brady should be number 2. Just off this, we automatically know he's the best quarterback of all time. But in terms of him, he has overall of his career, we all know he has Super Bowls, MVP, Super Bowl MVPs, passing yards, touchdowns, all that other stuff. To me, he's number 2. I would go Rodgers 3. Accolades, he has 1 Super Bowl, he has 4 MVPs, passing titles, all that other crap. So I feel like Rodgers goes to 3. I feel like Josh Allen goes to 4. But now this is where, to me, where the list, in my opinion, starts to get a little bit shaky. Joe Burrow being at number 5. Discretion, just to be known and put it out there. I love Joe Burrow. I have nothing against Joe Burrow. I love watching him play. Obviously, he caught everyone's eye and attention at 2019 when he played for LSU. He caught everybody's eye again. 2020, he was the number 1 overall pick. He played a handful of games before he went down with a terrible ACL injury. But 2021, he came out, bounced back, took his team to the Bengals to the Super Bowl, and they haven't done that in almost 35-plus years. So they haven't been to the Super Bowl in a very long time. They hadn't even got a playoff win in a very long time. So Joe Burrow did a lot of great things. But I felt like with me, Joe Burrow is in the top 10, but to me, he is in the top 5 because I feel like he has a lot more to prove. He has not just a lot more to prove, but he has to have a lot more experience and a lot more pedigree in the league. He's basically, in my eyes, he's only played 1 full year, because in 2020 he played 6-7 games, was out for the year. So I don't count that against him in that year, but the full year that he did play, he did really well. Of course, comeback player of the year, went to the Super Bowl, everything like that. So there's nothing against what I'm saying for him as a top 10. I feel like maybe he should be around the range where a Watson or a Dak is. In that fact, I still feel like he's top 10, but I still feel like he needs to do a lot more. If he keeps doing what he's doing, I feel like next year he goes to the playoffs, wins a playoff game, I definitely feel like he'll stay in the top 10. He might move up or down. But I feel like there's a lot of recency bias within this list. Plus, it's the offseason, so a lot of people still need to go out and get paid, and a lot of people need to come and tune into the television networks, see what a lot of these talking heads are talking about. But I feel like Joe Burrow should be a little bit lower. Matt Stafford, to me, he should be in the top 5. He's not really a top 5 quarterback to me, but if you're just going off of recency bias, sure, Matthew Stafford can be top 5. He just won a Super Bowl in February. He did pretty well in that playoff run. He did really well against the Bucks, Tom Brady. He did really well against the Niners, who always had the Rams number. So he did really well in his first season as a Ram. So I'll give it to him for him being top 5. But in my opinion, Justin Herbert should not be in the top 10. If you're basing off of that, he's a dual threat quarterback. He has a really nice arm. He can mobile and gain yards if he needs to with his legs. Sure, if you're just basing it just off that, sure, he's top 10. But if you're naming it off of what he has actually done in the league, what has he done? He's won Offensive Rookie of the Year. He won, I believe, 7 games his first year. They blew a couple of games, but that was that. But then if you go into his second year, that was the year that the Chargers had a really, really nice year. But then again, in the final 4 games, all they needed to do was win one game, just one, to secure a playoff spot. And he couldn't do that for them. A great example, if you go back to last year and you look at the final 4 games, it was the Texans, Raiders, Week 18, and I think the Broncos, I want to say, and the Chiefs, I want to say. There was a couple of games towards the last final stretch where there were very winnable games. He couldn't beat. The one game that stands out to me is the Texans, because the Texans, to me, and everyone knows, were a trash team. That's why they picked top 3, top 4 in the draft. They had a horrible season, and Justin Herbert couldn't even beat the Texans to get into the playoffs. I'm not going to really blame the Raiders game, but I feel like he could have won the Raiders game as well. But that was a game that, you win, you get in. If tie, you still get in. But, there's a bunch of different difficulties within that game. But I still felt like they could have won that game. I believe they even had a lead in that game. But, I mean, put all that aside, man. Justin Herbert hasn't done anything in the league, man, yet for him to be in the top 10. Like, if you look at everybody else in the top 10, to me, I'll touch on Desean Watson later, but if you look at everybody else, Allen's been to the playoffs consistently, won playoff games. Mahomes has accolades, MVPs, Super Bowls. Same thing goes for Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. Joe Burrow has at least been to a Super Bowl. I still feel like they can make the playoffs, But we will see how Justin Herbert does with his new improved team. He has Rashawn Slater, really, really great left tackle in the league. I really like Rashawn Slater. You have Corey Linsley at your center position. You still got Parham. You re-upped on Mike Williams. You still have Keenan Allen. You still have a bunch of goons on your team. So I still really like the Chargers, I feel like, and they got really, really better defensively as well. So we'll see what the Chargers will be like. But like I said, to me, Justin Herbert's not a top 10 quarterback just yet. He still has a lot to prove in the league. If you're just basing him, if he's in your top 10 just because of his nice arm talent and he wows you when you watch him, then that's your thing. But if I'm basing it off my opinion in the top 10, is what have you done over a couple of years in your career? Wins, obviously, but wins are subjective to some people, because when talking about certain quarterbacks, QB wins are quarterback. They're saying that wins aren't a quarterback stat. That's for some people. To me, quarterback wins are a QB stat. But yeah, so I feel like Justin Herbert should be on the list. Russell Wilson. Now, with Russell Wilson, I still feel like he's a top 10 quarterback in my opinion. I would move him up. I feel like he's top 5, but he hasn't improved anything in the last couple of years to be top 5. Last time he won a Super Bowl, it's been almost a decade. It was, I think, 2014 was the last time 2014 was the last time he won a Super Bowl. 2015 was the last time he'd been to a Super Bowl, so it's been some years since he's been to a Super Bowl. He still has had winning seasons, touchdowns. He's won the NFC West a couple years after that Super Bowl, so he still has been a really, 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 really solid quarterback. Last year was a horrible season, but just, he was injured. He got injured early in the season. He got injured like week 4, week 3 on that Thursday night against the Rams. So he was out for most of the year. That's the reason why the Seahawks were terrible. But even when he were playing, they were struggling a lot against a bunch of other teams. So to me, Russell Wilson's still a really good quarterback. So I think he should probably get moved up to 7. I'll take Justin Herbert out of the top 10. Now, number 9, when discussing Desean Watson, I feel like Desean Watson shouldn't be part of any quarterback list just because he didn't play football at all last year. He didn't play, and the last time we did see him play football, they were 4-12, and that was a Texas team that was just horrible. But even with them being horrible at 4-12, he still wasn't. He didn't really play up to par. So, of course, I'm not gonna really hold against him about the team that he had. And then plus also with his current situation, with legal situation, with the women and everything like that, it's totally unacceptable. And I feel like the commissioner, if done right, I feel like he should be out of football again. So I feel like Desean Watson shouldn't be in anybody's top quarterback list. When Dak Prescott at 10, I feel like the reason why Dak Prescott should be at 10 and the reason why I feel like he should be around 7, 8 is for the facts I was just bringing up. Desean Watson shouldn't be in the list, so that moves him up. Justin Herbert shouldn't be in the top 10. He hasn't done anything in the league. I feel like that moves up Dak Prescott another tier up. I still feel like Matthew Stafford can be put in the top 5. Won a Super Bowl in February. He had all the nice playoff wins that he needed to get there. He had a good performance in the Super Bowl. He had a shaky performance in the championship game. He had a great performance in the divisional round against Tampa Bay. And he had a really good performance against the Cardinals. So those are really good wins that he had. Joe Burrow knocked him down a couple notches. I won't put him top 5. Yes, he made the Super Bowl. Dak Prescott didn't. So I still have Joe Burrow just a tad bit ahead of Dak Prescott. But I still feel like Dak Prescott's a better quarterback than Joe Burrow. But, that's my opinion. But I feel like Dak Prescott should be put up there because Dak Prescott is top 4, top 5 in wins. And the goalpost for him always gets moved, which is what is mind-boggling to me, is because that's how I like with Dak Prescott and Tom Brady. Not saying they're nowhere near the same, but what everyone gets on Dak Prescott's case about is that his numbers are inflated because they call it garbage time yards, which is bullcrap because they said that about a bunch of different games. Because when you ask him about garbage time yards, there's never a game that they can pull up where it's like, oh, Dak Prescott had garbage time yards. Garbage time yards are like what he did against Denver, when you're being blown out for the entire game, and in the fourth quarter, you're down by 4 or 5 touchdowns, and then you start coming back. Okay, cool. But if you're maintaining and you're fighting and you're in the games and it's a close game at halftime, close game in the third quarter, but just out in the fourth quarter you couldn't get it done, people call those garbage time. When the final score ends up being 34-28, but Dak Prescott ends up losing by like 6 to 10 points. But if you actually watch the games, those weren't garbage time yards. But what I was talking about with the point with Dak Prescott and Brady was that they always crap on Dak for playing with a sorry division for most of his career, but nobody wants to bring up about how a lot of these guys that are in the top 4 that have crappy divisions. Like, look at Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers hasn't had a really good division. Yeah, the Vikings are cool or whatever, but every single time that Aaron Rodgers plays the Vikings, he always sweeps them all the time. The Lions, they haven't been anything. You look at the Bears. Aaron Rodgers has been owning the Bears, so he's played in a crappy division. Look at Tom Brady when he was in New England for all them years. The Bills were never nothing. Neither was Miami. Miami had a good year or two, but they were never a team that was constantly beating the Patriots or even competing with the Patriots. Jets haven't been anything in forever, so the Jets hasn't been anything, so they haven't been giving Tom Brady any flack for that. But Tom Brady, the only difference between what Tom Brady has done and what Dak Prescott hasn't yet is Tom Brady has got it done in the playoffs. Dak hasn't. But they always talk about, oh, Dak Prescott's numbers are inflated because he plays against a sorry division. They name it on garbage time yards. That's the reason why his numbers look good, when that's not Dak Prescott's fault that he plays in a crappy division. He's not a GM. He doesn't play GM, quarterback, defense. So it's not his fault that, the Eagles haven't been competitive and they haven't been a great team year in and year out. Same thing with Washington or New York. So that's not his fault that he plays in a weaker, less division, whatever people want to say. But like I said, I still feel like Dak Prescott to me is a top 7 quarterback, top 6. But of course, this is all just my opinion. If you feel different, comment. Feel how you can say what you say how you feel. If you feel like Dak Prescott is in top 10, that's your opinion. But if you go by all the metrics, QBR, yards, touchdowns, winning seasons, and that's another thing I forgot to mention with Dak Prescott is Dak Prescott has never had a losing season when playing from week 1 all the way to week 17. Now you're putting in an extra week 18. He has never had a losing season. His first year, of course, 13-3. Second year, he went 9-7. Third year, he went 10-6. Fourth year, 8. His fifth year, he didn't play a whole lot of games. His sixth year, he went 12-5. So out of the 6 years he has been playing, he's gone to the playoffs 3 times. He has 1 playoff win. And then that's another thing. If you look at a lot of these quarterbacks that are on the top 10 list, Dak Prescott has the same record as Desean Watson. Justin Herbert has never been to the playoffs, has never won a playoff game. Joe Burrow does have more playoff wins than Dak Prescott has, so that's why I still will have Joe Burrow Joe Burrow over Dak Prescott. Matthew Stafford does have more playoff wins than Dak Prescott, but just recently he had more playoff wins. So, that's another thing. Dak Prescott doesn't wow you. Dak Prescott doesn't run a 4.3 40, so he's not the fastest quarterback. He's not the fastest player on the field when he has the ball in his hands. He has an NFL arm, but he doesn't have an arm like Rodgers, Mahomes, Allen, Stafford, Herbert. Of course, he doesn't have those sort of arms, but he has a capable arm where he can make throws when he needs to and everything like that. So that's my case for the video as to why I believe Dak Prescott, to me, is about a top 6, top 7 quarterback in my opinion. So yeah, just again, leave in the comments what you guys think. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys had a wonderful day, things like that. Have a nice day. Bye.